Good afternoon, everyone. Last class, we talked about an introduction to traffic building. Um, in this video, I would like to just go over what we covered last time very quickly so that you can refresh your memory. We started with these two very important quotes, and the summary or the end message out of these two quotes is to understand the importance of digital marketing and why digital marketing could be very vital in most for-profit and non-profit organizations. We talked about the long debate on which is more important, marketing or research and development or innovation. And we concluded together that it is just as important as an innovation, if it's not more important, because of its role to monetize or help monetize and get the return on investment on the R&D activities. All right, then we tried to cover almost everything here under the intro to traffic building, where we talked about the importance of understanding the quality of the visitors to our site. So not all visits equal. There are visits that ends up with a very short time on the page. This means that it could be also interpreted as a bounce rate. So if the user doesn't stay long enough on the page, then this could be labeled, this visit could be labeled as a bounce rate. Also, other visits could yield to a purchase. And in this case, this is a very highly valuable visit that will end up with a purchase. Other visits might just, like visitors might just stay long enough and on one page. Others might jump from one page to another and read as much content or view as many products on your e-commerce site. So these visits are not made equal, and there are some metrics we talked about very briefly, like the bounce rate, which is the percentage of users who don't stay enough on the page or don't stay long enough on the page. And long enough, it depends on the browser, the definition of the browser for the bounce rate. Some browsers look at it as a minute, a second, 2 seconds, one page, a scroll, and so on. So it depends on how your browser defines a bounce rate. And then equally important is the time on the page. Time on the page is also as important. Same with your YouTube videos. On YouTube videos, you can see also statistics on the view time. So out of a 10-minute video, how much time the viewers have spent on that video. So something similar to YouTube as well. The percentage of users that made the purchase. So these are the percentage of, or the ratio of users that actually placed an order out of all these users who clicked and visited the site. So if we divide the number of visitors who placed an order over the total number of all visitors, this will give me what we call it a conversion rate, okay? So it's kind of like a ratio. How much does it cost to bring these visitors in? We're going to talk a little bit about cost and about revenue in subsequent slides. We also talked about owned media. With owned media, this is your own website, it's your social media platforms. We talked about the most valuable and very difficult to earn, which is earned media, like reviews and likes, engagement on other platforms. And we also have the paid media. Paid media is not only Google paid search or like paid ads, like display ads and so on. It also includes these platforms and the companies that help you link to other external websites. So For paid media, it's not only advertisement based, but also I talked in class about Linkly, which is one of the businesses that helps you link to other external sites. Topics, we talked about the different topics under digital marketing. We also had talked about briefly about why I like to call display advertisement programmatic advertising. It is way much different than what it used to look like a while back. We talked about editorials, native advertisement, and made a comparison between native advertisement and a display ad. We also started talking about the main building blocks of any traffic building strategy or activity, starting with the target. What's your target? Target. And your target is supposed to be very well defined, very clear scope, percentages there for how much increase or how much decrease in bounce rate, for example, or increase in visits or clicks or increase in placing an order and so on. So what kind of target also you are looking for? For my students who are taking the entrepreneurial strategy course and developing an e-commerce site, we're going to work on audience definition and defining your target either through geographic definitions, which area, um, their interests, their behavior, and their demographics in general. So there are mostly demographics. We describe the target through demographics, behavior, and interests. However, nowadays when we're talking about digital marketing, we're really talking about intent. Nowadays, businesses are actively looking into recruiting researchers and experts that could help them identify your intent. Are you actually browsing so many pages on that site, but you're window shopping, you don't have that much money? What's your intent? Are you searching my site because you're a competitor and you're doing the situational analysis for your business, or what's your intention? Is this going to end up with um, placing an order, or it's going to be just a very interesting stat added to our um, 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 report? Okay, then we're going to talk about techniques or tactics. Techniques are very important and very difficult also to find and to find that best combination of different channels, online, offline channels, that very optimal mix, to find that very optimal mix between offline and online. And it also includes budgeting. But for bachelor students, for now, we're not going to talk about budgeting per se. If time allows, we're going to talk about a case study. We're going to do some budgeting decision making together. For now, we're talking about finding that optimal mix of online and offline um, um, marketing channels. Then we also talked about timing, guys. So with the timing, we talked about there are some campaigns on digital marketing, online campaigns that is timed with the launch of a new website, for example, and they last for 2 months to 3 months period, for example, and then they end. But there's also ongoing digital marketing activities, especially those related to search engine optimization. You're continuously doing your best to optimize your website, to link to other external sites. For example, if you are on a plan with Backlinko or Linkly and you are paying monthly subscription, these sites or businesses usually help you link to other websites, valuable websites relative to your business, and promise you a certain volume of traffic. For this kind of, for example, uh, um, I won't call it campaigns per se, but activities are ongoing, continuous activities. They don't have like a time horizon per se. You could, of course, terminate the service, but once you terminate the service, you will hurt your business so much because you won't have that, you won't maintain that level of success. So it's a two-edged sword with these kind of platforms. If you don't maintain the success and you terminate these services, this will penalize you definitely. Now we talked about the traffic sources, guys. If you guys remember, we have different traffic sources. Most importantly, traffic coming from the search engine. For example, Google. It could come through Google services, paid services, or through the organic search engine. Referral traffic, when you link to other important websites in your relative industry or area. Um, then the traffic coming from these uh, uh, backlinks or links from other external sites are listed under referral traffic, and this is how you know how much is I mean is the business like Linkly or Backlinko are meeting their promises? Are you getting the traffic volume that they are promising you, and so on? Then we have directed traffic. Directed traffic is when you directly type in the URL of the site on the search engine, or if you have bookmarked the site on your browser, you saved it on your browser, and I showed you in class how you do that, and then you retrieved from retrieved the link or clicked on the link from the favorite list. Then there's also campaigns. So when you set up a campaign, and in today's class together, we are going to show how this kind of analytics reports or analytical reports like Google Analytics or Facebook, and they, most of them use the same definition of traffic, guys. So this is kind of universal definitions of traffic. So you need to understand this: direct traffic, referral traffic, search traffic. You need to ask yourself after reading this slide, what is search traffic again? What is referral traffic? What is campaign traffic? What is direct traffic? And you need to answer the questions clearly, and you have it clear in your head, because this is one of the most important things that we deal with digital marketing. I'm going to show you in today's flip class how we can create a certain link. It's called a tracking link with Google URL Builder, based on a different campaign, how we can create a certain campaign hypothetically, and define certain parameters into within the interface of the URL builder, so that you can copy that link and embed that link in your website. And of course, we studied the HTML together, so we both know how where do you put the source of the link and all that. So this is where you actually use that link to link to the destination, so that these web analytics could track and identify where the traffic is coming from. It's coming from clicking on this button and not that button, from this campaign and not that campaign. Okay, so I think this is all what we talked about. So finally, we talked about the traffic equality, certain questions you need to ask. Again, yeah, and I talked about different costs. So we need to compute different costs based on that traffic. So the web analytics um, gives you the volume of traffic, but then what you do next is you need to identify the cost per acquisition per visitor, meaning per click that visited, or the cost per acquisition per lead. For example, if you have on your e-commerce site something like subscribe to our newsletter, our periodic newsletter, this is a lead. Or if you are a non-profit organization and you send reports about a certain region, certain topic, then they can provide their email in a form. It's like a display kind of form that captures the user's email, and then you send them the report, and now you own their email. You could send them emails in the future and so on. Now, the ethical practice of marketing um, 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 demands that you ask the customer or the provider or the audience on whether or not they would like you to use their email for future contact. This is the ethical practice. A cost per acquisition of a sale is when a person this visitor becomes a customer by placing an order. So you also have to make this kind of calculations. I have done a seminar with the Alumni Association on the cost per acquisition. It's a 2-hour seminar, and you could find the webinar on the TIU Alumni Association. So if you're interested in understanding a little bit more on or about cost per acquisition and all that, so please check the Alumni Association YouTube channel. They have my webinar there. Now that you know how to compute the cost, how about identifying the cash in? So total sales, of course, is the revenue. Now, what do you do with the revenue and the cost? Of course, you compute the return on investment. Your return on investment, you could compute the return on investment for, as you can see, for a visitor, for a lead, and for a sale. So depending on your customer segment, for example, if you're going to segment customers here, or customer cohort, I would call it, or group, let's call it group here. So for visitors, how much cost, how much are you getting any revenue from the visitors? Of course not. Leads, are you getting any revenue? Not. Sale, are you getting any revenue? Yes, you're getting revenue. So over here, you're going to compute the total revenue the cost of all of these, the cost per acquisition for visitor, for a lead, for a sale, and then with the total revenue, you will find the return on investment of all these activities. However, when you take only the cost per acquisition of only the individuals who or the cohort or the group of visitors who placed an order, then there's a different conversion rate that you compute with that. Usually the return on investment is more of an aggregate metric. Okay, we talked also about the different techniques here. So we have online versus offline. And today I'm going to give you also in one of the questions, I'm going to give you an exercise where you have to use this slide in particular to identify and put together the right mix of tactics or techniques and based on different objectives. And the timing, of course, as I explained earlier, there are ongoing, continuous communication, and then there is also the limited time horizon kind of campaigns. And also here we finalize our lecture with the lifetime buying process, starting with objectives, then the tactical mix, and hopefully this will lead us to buying or placing an order. So, how to bring traffic to newly launched website? Well, this is one of the things that we're going to talk about in today's Flip class. I'll see you in the next video.